Well, hello guys. What do we have here? I wonder. Maybe another episode of Is It Cooking or Cooked? And today I explored far deep into my childhood and kind of am going to maybe ruin something, maybe not ruin something. I mean, this is what cooking or is it cooked is all about. We kind of explore whether taking two characters from maybe a beloved show or a weird show or just odd characters that you could see shipped together, or you couldn't see shipped together, I should say. And we explore what that looks like more along the lines of maybe a Yaoi fanfic. Welcome into the Cozy Archives, where we read fanfic together, chill, and sometimes we even dabble into a little bit of like anime video games or whatnot on this channel. But if you're here today for this, you obviously came for the fanfic part. And I usually use AO3 as my platform. I always mention at the beginning that I tag everything in the description below: the username, the author, the people who actually made it possible for me to read this. And I leave the link in the description so that you can go there and leave a comment or kudos if you enjoy it. Now, I usually read anime fanfic that I actually ship and enjoy myself on my channel. But in this series, we read, like I said, maybe a little bit more along the lines of an obscure ship that you may not have thought of yourself. I went digging in my childhood memories the other day, and I was really debating on a few different ones I could do. But I kind of thought about this one when I saw a picture of Sid on my TV from Ice Age. And I'm not gonna lie, I think the thought crossed my mind a time or two about Sid and Diego having like their cute banter in the movie. I don't know if I ever thought of it as a couple type thing, but guess what we're exploring today? So today we have the weirdest type of fanfic I think I've probably done yet on my channel. I did do Mordecai and Rigby from the regular show, but they kind of meant them as like humans in that. I'm not sure. I don't think that they have in the tags that they meant them as humans in this. However, they do have Yaoi, Ice Age Yaoi, which is kind of funny in the tag. This one's a 1,543, so a little bit of a short fanfic, but we kind of always do those on this series. And it's just a one-shot. Has actually an alarming amount of kudos. I was floored by the kudos in this. So it must be a well-loved, like, ship, which I can kind of see. However, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be cooking for me. It's definitely an odd one. I wasn't really thinking about shipping characters like this from my childhood when I was younger and reading them. You know what I mean? So we're going to start diving into it here, and we're going to find out if this ship is actually cooking or it's cooked. Now, I usually read out Dirty Clean Laundry. Muppety, I think I'm saying this right, is the username. Yeah, I had to filter through a lot of different ones. A lot of the Sid Diego fanfics were in Spanish, and I don't know if I can find a way to translate them on here. Maybe I'm just dumb and didn't find it, but I couldn't find it personally. So I had very limited options. So for it having so many kudos, it's interesting how much less fanfic there is on AO3 of it. Maybe I just didn't run across the Holy Grail, or most of it's on Wattpad or Tumblr. I'm guessing that's what's happening. But we did find one, a very short one, called Dirty Clean Laundry. It says, the summary is, you don't make this easy, you know. Diego flopped down on their couch, almost spilling his mug of coffee. Sid shot him a look that let Diego know just how little sense he was making. Diego had lost his brief confidence, however, and refused to elaborate. Or, the other plot summary, Diego reflects on his relationship with Sid while they fold laundry. Very interesting. I think it'll probably be a nice little cute one, so here we go. You don't make this easy, you know. Diego flopped down on their couch, almost spilling his mug of coffee. Sid shot him a look that let Diego know just how little sense he was making. Diego had lost his brief confidence, however, and refused to elaborate. Sid finally stopped the sink, peering over at Diego curiously, but looking altogether ridiculous considering the huge rubber gloves and frilly pink apron he was wearing. What a choice, Sid. What a choice. What are you talking about? I feel like, though, Sid in Ice Age would definitely be caught washing dishes with a frilly pink apron. Like, 100%. He was definitely momming that little kid in the one movie. Diego didn't respond, and after a minute, Sid went back to the dishes. There really weren't that many, but Sid insisted on using half a bottle of dish soap and filling up their entire sink every time. Same, dude. Same. It was like he was trying to give their silverware a bubble bath. Maybe they were, Diego considered. I wouldn't put it past them. Using a whole half bottle. I don't do that. Don't get me wrong. I don't do that. But I think it's funny because we're only supposed to use, like, I don't know if you guys knew this, throwing facts out there. We're only supposed to use, like, a tiny little bit of, like, Dawn dish soap to use, like, in our dishes or dishwater, if you're washing them by hand. But you're only supposed to use, like, a drop or two, and I didn't know that, so I would, like, as a kid, like, pour it into there. And I thought that was funny because then I ended up finding out you're only supposed to use like a little drop in like a whole sink of water and it actually does the job just as good. What do you know? But yeah, so that's what I was referring to. Let's see. Diego didn't respond after a few minutes. Yeah, I already read that part, so we're gonna skip right past it. Sid, finally satisfied with his work, stripped himself of his cleaning gear and washed his hands. The apron hadn't spared him, though, and he now had a huge wet spot in the front of his shirt. Diego grabbed the remote and started flipping through the channels, finally stopping on some trashy house renovation show. When he looked back over, Sid had completely removed his shirt and was digging in the laundry bin of clean clothes that both of them had neglected to fold, seeking out an acceptable shirt. I'm wondering if this is supposed to be human form because Sid didn't wear any clothes. And it doesn't say ripping off his fur, so. Okay. Diego wasn't staring, or so he told himself. More observing. Right. Sid had always been pretty lanky, so it wasn't as if he had a six-pack, but he had rounded out a bit compared to when Diego first met him. It was genuinely really nice to see, considering it was a sign that Sid was finally in a happy and healthy place. He wasn't living with his shitty family. Whoa. Deep backstory stuff on Sid, I guess we didn't know about. Not on the streets, and actually had friends to support him. I was gonna say Sid. So Sid grew up in, like, the streets, I guess, is what we're learning. Diego spared one moment to admire the twin scars laced across their chest before finally averting his eyes, suddenly paying very close attention to the TV. Twin scars, it's giving Bakudeku. Apparently, the clearly staged conflict about what color to paint the house had escalated dramatically. Yes, they usually do in those, because what the hell else are they supposed to talk about? See, that's what I don't get about these shows. They always make a big deal about the design, but the decorating is always so minimalist and bland. Doesn't the couple have children? I mean, come on. Sid was gesturing wildly, something he often did when passionate, which he was about pretty much everything. They're gonna grow up in a house with the color palette of a mental hospital. So relatable. I mean, I've had jobs before where I would, like, clean houses and stuff like that. I cannot express to you, like, how wild it is to have your kid's bedroom look like an IKEA bedroom. What are we doing? Now, I'm kind of judging, but not judging if it's your style. But let your kid have a little bit more imagination in his life, or I don't know. It doesn't look like your kid's living in that room. It looks like a room from an IKEA showroom. Like, I don't think necessarily that any kid's room should look like that. It just feels like very staged and like the parents did it. And yeah, I don't know. That's a little side tangent because genuinely, I don't get people who their kids' room is like that. And how do you keep it that way? That's my question too. Like, maybe I'm just jealous. I don't know. Diego opened his mouth to reply before promptly shutting it again. Sid was very much wearing one of his shirts. Oh. Since when did they own anything in black? Sid stared back at him, blinking in confusion before coming to a conclusion of his own. Of course you're a fan of this color palette. You love gross fancy bullshit, but you can't say I don't have a point. Modern interior design is damaging our perception of ... Diego finally cut him off. This is what I'm talking about. Sid's jaw snapped. An awkward silence hung in the air. Sid crossed his arms and the TV continued to blare in the background. Whatever you're trying to imply at me, I'm not gonna get it. You know my brain doesn't work like that, dude. Work with me here. Diego sighed. It wasn't fair of him to act like this. He shouldn't be frustrated with Sid for being Sid. Yes, very crucial. He knew how he was being emotionally constipated. I feel like Diego does kind of give Bakugo vibes. So if you're not a My Hero fan, I'm so sorry I keep referencing. But it's giving that right now. He was too proud to say what he was thinking, so he just kept making cryptic statements expecting Sid to somehow get it. So true. And that wasn't fair of him. You know, Ellie is convinced that we're secretly dating. Diego said conversationally. Oh, just a little conversation, you know. Just a little, like, spicy conversation he was supposed to drop right there on him. That, after he literally said, like, oh yeah, Sid's not, like, he doesn't have that kind of capacity for, like, this right now. Then he's like, boom, you know, people think we're dating. You just saw him in your shirt, that's why. Diego said conversationally, he knew he was being confusing, yes, but he felt awkward and unsure how to begin. Ellie also thinks Manny is the perfect candidate for a house husband. So I don't think her judgment is always accurate. Diego put his hands up in a surrender. All I'm saying is that you don't exactly do much to dispel these rumors. Dispel? What are you? 50? I thought that said so, because I read the S as 5 as an S. What are you, 50? Come on, Sid. Listen to me here. The way you act with us living together and all, people are going to start getting the wrong idea. You're really pushing this, Diego. Like, I don't know. Oh no, we wouldn't want them to suspect that Diego's anything other than heterosexual. Sid rolled his eyes. Diego winced, understanding what seemed like he was implying. Sid, I don't mean to be like that. I just meant... Diego trailed off, frustrated. He wasn't great at putting his feelings into words, so he decided to just put it out there and say it. I mean, you know I'm not straight, right? Oh, I don't think he did. Sid seemed stunned for a moment there. That was very tongue twist. Sid seems... Wait a second, I got this. Sid seemed stunned. I'm proud of myself for that. I did not think I was going to get it, like, second try, but hey, for me. For a moment, why on God's green earth would you not share that information with your transgender bisexual roommate and probably best friend? Yeah, Diego. What the fuck? I don't know, man. I'm not as good at being open like you are. Diego looked away, feeling foolish. I don't know. I guess I feel ashamed. Bro. Come on, dude. You think you're gonna feel ashamed telling him that? Diego hadn't realized, but Sid had gotten up and moved closer to him, now putting his hands on Diego's shoulders and sitting on the cushion next to him. Diego spotted the t-shirt again and was reminded of his earlier point. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm scared people will get the wrong idea about me and you. I'm scared they'll look too close and see something that I didn't want them to see. This is getting deep, guys. Sid made a face. Yeah, you wouldn't want people to assume you're interested in a freak like me. Oh, is that it? Am I getting that right? They stood up, staring angrily down at him. He's putting on the sass, guys. That's not what I meant. I just meant that they might read too far into things that shouldn't be messed with. Diego, you're really pushing it here. Like, I'm just saying they shouldn't read into things that shouldn't be messed with. What do you mean? First, it sounds like you're coming on to him, right? Then it sounds like you're not. You don't like them. You don't want to be associated with them. I don't know. I would be confused too if I was Sid. That's not what I meant. Sid turned completely away from him, and Diego desperately tried again. He needed to fix this somehow, to make him understand. Sid, oh, for Christ's sake, will you please just look at me? Sid turned around and Diego felt his stomach twist into a knot. Sid was glaring at him. Sure, but there were tears in his eyes. Diego grabbed him by the shoulders, looking at him fiercely. Please, please don't cry. I don't want to make you cry. I don't know what I can say to make you understand. Sid took a deep, shuddering breath. Just tell me the truth, Diego. Are you really that disgusted by the assumption that you and I might be together? Diego pulled Sid close, wrapping his arms around them and hugging them tightly, in a way that wouldn't bring them discomfort. He waited a few moments for Sid to calm down, for his breathing to even out and at the gentle pressure. Then, and only then, did Diego finally speak. You're far too good for me, Sid. I can't believe I'm reading this, but I say this with every single one of them. You're far too good for me, Sid. I mean, look at this. I've managed to hurt you with only a few words. Oh no, Diego. You're so emo. Diego shook his head, letting out a joyless huff of laughter. Have you ever been taunted with something you want so badly, but you know it could never be? Oh, I'm sorry, but no, you could never have. And tonight will be the night that I will fall for you over again. Bro, Diego, you're not in high school anymore. I'm pretty sure he's not supposed to be in high school anymore. It's not a phase, Mom. I'm sorry, that line was just so in that realm. I had to. Sid pulled away from him, looking at him curiously, brows furrowed. What exactly are you saying, Diego? Diego sighed loudly, deciding he might as well just give in. The reason that these assumptions bug me so much is that I like it, Sid. I like seeing you wear my shirts and brag about my sleeping habits to our friends. And the point is that I'm not disgusted by the idea. It just feels like I'm being teased with something I'll never have or even be remotely worthy of. Sid shook his head, placing a hand against Diego's cheek, and gently brushed a lock of hair behind his ear. Doesn't it have a lot more hair than that? Like, as if he were something gentle that needed to be treated with care. Something in the movement made Diego's throat feel heavy and dry. He opened his mouth to continue, but all that came out was a small, embarrassing croak. He felt grossly vulnerable in a way he hadn't been in years. And it was all because of Sid. Sid. I don't know how you could even say that. I mean, I've been in love with you for how long? Sid giggled, and Diego hated himself for how endearing he found it. I like those things too, Diego. I like when you put an arm around me so you won't lose me in a crowd. I like when you fight over what kind of ice cream to buy. I like the thought of our friends knowing how well I know you. You're not unworthy of me, or whatever is your silly little brain has convinced you is keeping us apart. I love you. Stupid. Don't forget it. Diego's eyes widened. I love you too, he blurted out. He blurted almost too loudly. And I'm sorry if I made it seem like I didn't. And I'm sorry for making it seem like I didn't want to be with you. Most of all, I'm sorry for making you cry. I really, really can't stand to see you cry, Sid. Please don't. So please don't. Sid rolled his eyes, smiling. Shut up and kiss me, all right? We made it. We got through, guys. We got through. I went full theatrical with that just for you guys, so you're welcome. I think that's the most into it I've gotten, just because Diego was low-key, you know, that meme of that Doge with the bangs and the eyeshadow. That's what he was, bro. Man, I know the ending is is kind of bad, because they literally didn't have any, like, mistakes in this whole thing. I think they literally didn't have any spelling errors, and then at the ending it's like, man, I knew the ending was kind of bad. I literally had no ideas. Props to you, because you literally wrote it, like, no, I had no trouble reading this. So, really great author. What are you doing writing Diego and Sid fanfic from Ice Age, bro? Write me some fanfic about my anime yaoi ships, please. I'm begging you. It wasn't the worst. It was not the worst. When I was reading this, I actually had quite a hard time. I'm not going to lie. My cat's name is Diego. I did not give him that name. My partner gave him that name. But as I was reading this and just picturing Diego, the sabretooth, I think he is, tiger, in this fanfic, and I'm saying Diego, he's actually literally on the bed behind me. I'm like sitting, first of all, like, I saw him like come over here when I kept saying Diego. He knows his name, both of our cats do. But it was hilarious because it was just so hard for me to read this when I have a cat named Diego who's also cream colored. And I'm like, this is so fucking weird for me. I did not think that through. Before you're like, you're the one who picked this. I didn't think that through. I actually didn't realize that at all. I might have to tell my partner about this after, because I don't know if he did either. But yeah, we literally have a cat named Diego, so it made it kind of awkward for me to read this. However, I do think if this is your cup of tea, it's your cup of hot tea. My hot take, it's not cooking for me. One, I always try to, I promise you guys, I always try to find a fanfic inside the realm of the show so that we can immerse ourselves deeply into what that ship would authentically be like if you were to ship them in the show. I did that with the regular show. I just knocked my desk over. I did that with the regular show. I did it with Shrek. I could not find, for the life of me, like I told you guys in the beginning, one for this one. I couldn't find one where maybe it's like the animal aspect, which, yes, I do think it's a little weird to write fanfic and ship a yaoi ship with like animals and shit like that. But I did still read it, so we're gonna give it a kudos. But for me, it's not cooking. I don't really like, the fact of like Diego and Sid together is a little weird for me. I did it because I just knew that it was content. And when you're younger, I could see you looking at this ship, don't get me wrong, and being like, yeah, their banter is cute. Like, I always thought, like, Diego and Sid's banter was super cute, great relationship. Just don't see it romantically though. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. For me, we're gonna label this one not cooking. Strangely enough, the Mordecai and Rigby one kind of had me on the cooking side because I just personally see them as a brother type relationship. So I don't ship them really. But I also see them as like, it was kind of cool and they were doing it in the human version perspective of them. So it was kind of like cute when you said it like that. But yeah, this one I don't, it wasn't doing it for me. I'm gonna label this one as cooked, this ship. The whole animal aspect of it is another thing that I was just a little bit like, I'm gonna do it because, but, and now that I'm thinking of it, all of the ships on Is It Cooked or Cooking have actually been like in the animal realm. So maybe I'll try and not do one like that next time. Maybe I'm the weird one now, I'm realizing here. But it's just, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if this is animal realm still, but I have my next one picked out. It may have something to do with the Amazing Digital Circus, but I'm not gonna say particularly what. I'm not gonna say that. And it doesn't have to be yaoi. We don't always do just yaoi ships on here. We just do the most like weird ones I can think of, and we're just gonna take that and run with it. But tell me what you liked or didn't like about this one or this ship. Was it cooking or cooked for you? That's the most important part. And if you liked hanging out with me, the even more important part would be to hit the subscribe button, obviously, and stick around. I do anime fanfic also for ones you truly ship together, like Gojo and Gato maybe is your cup of tea, or Bakudeku, and you can stick around and subscribe to my channel to see those. I also am exploring the world of anime point and click games right now because I'm not going to do video games that have action. I suck at them. So we're exploring the world of anime point and click games over here on my channel. And those are more of in a format of if you want to just sit and chill and have like a cozy vibe that's not necessarily reading fanfic. I do also provide that on this channel. So if you want to stick around for more content like this, like I said, subscribe and join my community. It's the Cozy Archives here where we read fanfic and play some games and just all around have a chill vibe that hopefully you guys love. And I never want to do anything that is like, I may do very weird, is it cooking or cooked on my channel. But if you do not want content that's not really, I don't know what I'm saying right now, it's going to be weird on there. I'm just warning you guys, it's going to be weird on there. But otherwise, I do pretty normal content. So don't think I'm just this weirdo over here sitting reading stuff like this all day. That's not truly me. So I have fun doing it though. I have fun hanging out with you guys. And I hope to see you in the next one. So I will see you probably in another weird fanfic realm later.